We're back, boys. What time is it? Does anyone really truly know? I don't know. I mean, God probably does, but I think he's the only one who does. Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. Oh. You and I don't even know each other. We're like strangers. Yep. Facts. I don't know if you're a video game AI or if you're meant to be a dev's way of communicating. Sure, I've adjusted all the game settings to your exact specifications, but who hasn't? Just what I do, like a day job. Imagine having a day job. And now, job is over. What? Don't you leave me! There's no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can. I still don't really know you. I mean, you could have asked my name, but then again, I use a pseudonym, I use a lovely little nom de plume. What's your name? Neither of us know what time it is. It's the ever-returning crisis, isn't it? Some setting, yep. That's what it is. There are some things that you just can't find out with a slider. I'm being totally honest, the clock doesn't do anything in the game anyway. That's okay. You won't have me here when the game starts next time. Oh no! Video games were meant to be played a lot, and some of them weren't. You like being alone, don't you? That depends. That depends very heavily. Like, I generally enjoy being alone, but that doesn't mean I hate people. It's maybe the only information I learned about you. It's time for me to leave. So one more setting we need to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. Oh, it's not really my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again if you can find me. Is that a challenge? We've got some fun things to look for. Greetings, fellow mortals. This is Treasure Code from the Parable Project, and welcome back to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. And today, you see, I told my friend, the one who recommended this to me, I told him that I was going to go through the red door today, and he had this face that tells me that something's going to go down if I go down the red door. So I'm personally excited. Also, according to him, there's a window somewhere in this map that I can jump out of, and there's an ending that I can get from that. So we're also going to look for that today. So today we are going to, yet again, annoy the narrator.
This is the story.
Oh gosh, that's slow. 1 second. I'm thinking that maybe last time when I turned the... I'm trying to be very careful about this, because last time when I messed with the settings, I think I actually... worsened things last time. Yeah, let's just go borderless. Yeah, this looks about right. Oh.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Nope.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Yep, I am indeed a dork. Window. Let me jump out of the window. I wanna jump out the window. Oh, okay, this door is blocked. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
We've done this rodeo before.
This was not
Narrator.
the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
He says something different every time I go into the employee lounge in a row, so I want to see what he says this time.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
He was going down some sort of spiel last time. It might have been because I exited the game. But now... Ah, yes, that was where I went and ruined the story. Yeah, part of me is curious to see what happens if I go through and try to play the confusion ending all the way to the end. Because apparently there's a bookstore in there, and I'd like to see that.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Alright. So, we're gonna see if we can time our landing a little better. Part of me also wonders if it's possible to... Oh, what? Wait, hang on. Right click just makes me take a step forward. How did I not notice this? So I want to edge my way down a hallway. Part of me wonders if I can jump onto the catwalk after he's already completed his little speech, because before he got mad at me for interrupting his speech. So, you know, if not, then I'll just end up jumping off the cargo lift and falling to my death, but in a more satisfying manner. So
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
Last time I jumped, but I feel like I didn't do it properly.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Gotta remember, I can't jump.
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
Except by running.
I'm not asking for me.
Like,
I'm asking for
I
her.
can leap from the cargo lift. Woo! Yep.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do,
I could jump,
Stanley
I would've
leapt
done
from
it.
the platform and plunged to his death.
Dang right I did.
Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
I do. I feel incredibly empowered.
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. But
Yep,
eager
say
to
your
get back to
dialogue.
business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Like, do a bit where Veronica and Heather's, like, where she's shushing JD and just, like, she waves her finger everywhere. It's like, shh. The song where she did that made me so uncomfortable, but little snippets of it can be incredibly entertaining.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
But they didn't fire me because I'm too much of an asset to this company, Narrator. Because I'm an excellent multitasker. I can annoy you and amuse myself at the same time. It's incredible.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
I didn't interrupt you this time.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Danger everywhere. Yeah, Narrator, if you really think that I have no reason not to trust you, that I do this just because I'm not a trusting person, you've already blown me up, pranked me into thinking I had a wife, and then laughed in my face, and then made me do this soul-rending task of pressing buttons in order to get back to the rest of the game. You've just been an overall jerk. And like, you don't even realize the consideration I have had for you. I may have interrupted you, buddy, but I knew where that was going. And, you know, I had the consideration to let you be mad at me so that I could save you from going down a mental health spiral. Which apparently I'm going to have to send you down eventually. But, you know what? We're going to prolong your lovely little innocence.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
You know, I know that I have 3 chances to walk through the red door before this actually happens. I'm going to end up going through the red door, but I want to wait until he's drawn up the signs.
Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Gets all dark, the staircase back is gone.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ah, you've indicated it with
Oh,
colors.
thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time?
No, you
The
haven't
problem is
shown
all
me
these
it.
choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way we're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution.
He's got me in the loop
Here,
again.
let me show you.
You're gonna kill me, aren't you? Oh, he's so gonna kill me. Here we go! To my inevitable death.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
That looks like a guillotine. Is this? What is this?
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
What is it?
If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy.
Oh, that feels so good.
I actually feel happy.
Aww, narrator. But this wasn't what you wanted to show me last time. Last time the lesson you wanted to teach me was that I'm trapped in this game, that my life is inconsequential. Oh, I can jump into the abyss, can't I? The door back is open, meaning I can go back and irritate the narrator, but I kind of want to jump into the abyss. But this is pretty. I want to look at this. It's so calming. Pretty. I love the color green. It's a very nice color. I used to hate it, possibly because it was just everywhere whenever you went outside. But now I love it. It's a very nice color. Here comes red. Little reds and yellow. It's Christmas! Guys, it's Christmas. They're celebrating Christmas early. I love Christmas. I want to watch it swirl above my head. There we go. Happy Christmas. Looks almost like a weather forecast map. Oh wow, like the mouse is very hesitant to move from that. Oh yeah, that's causing a ton of lag because there's so much. Okay, now it's time to jump into the abyss. I can't. We have to go back. They actually remembered to put up an invisible wall.
No, wait. Where are you going?
The only place that there is to go. I mean, I can go back.
Right. Where were we?
How many times can I fake you out? This is the only time our narrator friend seems to feel happy. We're gonna let him go till the end of this little bit. But we must move on, narrator. It's the way life goes. We can never stay in one place. We must learn to move on, even when it hurts.
Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Okay, if I go back, how does he respond? But, buddy, I just told you we have to move on. That was a lovely little segment of our lives, but we can't stay there forever. There's more to be done. It'll be scary, but we'll get through it. Besides, I'm very careful with stairs. Even when I was a small bean, I always took the stairs very, very carefully. I never wanted to let myself fall. So unless these are faulty stairs, which would not be my fault.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Oh, the only thing left for me to do is jump. I see.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
I am thinking. I'm gonna see if there's any other way. Otherwise, we're gonna have to put the poor narrator through this. We have to move on, but that doesn't mean we'll move on in the quickest and most agonizing way possible. Let's see if there's another way.
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
I make no promises. You are clinging too desperately to these little pretty pictures. I get it. They're beautiful. But we can't just spend the rest of our lives here.
No! What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You heard me before, didn't you? You will die! What about this isn't getting through to you?
You've killed me before. You didn't act like it was too terrible a thing. Besides, we've all gotta go eventually, and let's face it, I'm not even going to go when this happens. I'm just going to respawn. And then I can play the route the same as I did before. Woo!
No! Oh, thank God you lived.
Dang it!
You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Alright. Okay, buddy. Oh, I'm noticeably slower than before. That's a good detail. I'm injured.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
Okay. I stop moving. If I don't get dialogue within the next 5 minutes, I'm going back and jumping again. This is very pretty, though. I could stare at this for hours. And I would if I didn't have a video to release. What if I just record something where it's like 1 hour of just this? 1 hour of the narrator's pretty room. Okay, you are on the clock right now, narrator. It's 10:26 a.m. By 10:31, if I've not gotten dialogue, I'm up and leaving, and I'm gonna go jump off the stairs again. I was waiting for the crunch of jumping off the cargo lift. It's pretty. Something that also would be interesting if I had one run per episode. So like once I reach the end of some sort of ending. Once I reach an ending, I consider that a stopping point. That's also a curious idea. Because it would be easier on my editing, it'd be easier on me trying to pick out something for my sermons. It also just means I can be playing this game for longer. I kind of like that idea. Alright, peeps. It is 10:31. His time is out. I try to say out and up at the same time. Out.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
Are you sure?
No. No, no. What are you doing, Stan? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Oh, I forgot that I thought that was it. Okay. Now we're at the top. I'm waiting for dialogue. And I'm
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Let's hide in the dark corner. don't know if I should or if I should just get this over with. Like, should we rip the band-aid off or should we let him have a little more time? I don't know how long it's taking me to die. As pretty as the other room is, we were in there for 5 minutes and I got bored and started looking at Pinterest.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
Not to be rid
You were
of.
literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
No. I enjoy your game so much that I'd like to get back to it, and that requires me to finish this ending. I enjoy your game so much that I want to see how this playthrough ends. You keep telling me that I need to trust you, narrator. You need to trust me a little too. Whoop!
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore.
I'm not getting.
I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
Oh, really slow now. I'm very curious to see if this changes. Oh,
I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I still thought that was possible.
well, we can't stay here forever, narrator. And quite clearly, you're not as in control of this world as I once thought you were. Because if you can't just take us from this place, if the only way for me to leave is to die, and you clearly don't want me to die, but you also don't want me to leave. I'm really beginning to wonder how much control you actually have over this situation, and perhaps it is time for us to investigate more, to move on. After all, if this force is malicious, which it honestly appears to quite possibly be, or at least I hope we can better understand this force so we know that if we're both in danger. And so, we continue to seek more endings. To figure this out, because, you know, the description of the game says, you're playing the game, but really the game is playing you. Well, you're not the game narrator, you're just telling us what's happening. So what if the game is playing you as well? We must move on. And it's not like I'm actually going to die. I'll just respawn. Do a flip! Whee!
Is it over? It's
No.
going to restart, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm going back.
I'm starting to see why he is so unhinged sometimes. He doesn't want to be here anymore. It's okay, narrator. We'll get through this. We'll continue pushing through until we've made it to the other side. And you know, if this is gonna be a rip the band-aid off episode, another thing I discovered while I was talking.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Another unfortunate thing that I discovered while I was talking to my friend is apparently like half the game is unlocked by completing the memory zone ending. And if we're like, clearly the narrator is being made to suffer here. It's like he's being stuck hurting like this. Therefore, the choice I am making is to push through some painful endings. In the hopes that we can release ourselves from this cycle. Because there's so few endings where the narrator ends up happy. And it seems like some other potentially malicious force is at work here. So, we must brave the depths. Hello, hello, hello. So glad you've stuck around for our 7-minute sermon, God's Word in 7 minutes or less. And in today's episode, we had to put the narrator through something kind of pretty painful. Like, you guys all saw the mental health spiral he was going down. It's very sad. And while I was trying to come up with a sermon for this, I was reminded of a passage in the Old Testament, where, you know how, like, the whole time I kept reminding our narrator friend that this will be a painful process, but we will get through it, and that he needs to trust me. Well, that little tidbit of advice reminded me of a Bible passage. This is Exodus 15, starting at verse 22. This is while Moses is leading the Israelites away from Egypt. They've already gotten through the Red Sea and they're wandering in the wilderness. Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went into the desert of Shur. For 3 days they traveled in the desert without finding water. So that would be our terrible time where Stanley's repeatedly jumping from the platform. We've got a terrible situation presented to us. When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. This is why the place is called Marah. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying, "What are we to drink?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. He threw it into the water, and the water became fit to drink. So there we have, like, a quick solution. Like, it's us going over to the room. It's like, we can't take this any longer, so we're going to go over to the room. We're going to indulge ourselves, because we cannot take this terrible time anymore. There the Lord issued a ruling and instruction for them and put them to the test. He said, "If you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you." Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there near the water. So the big point I would like you guys to take from that story is, what if the Israelites had just trusted God for a little longer? Because he was leading them through the wilderness. He told them, if you follow my commands, like he'd said this many, many times, if you have faith in the Lord, things are going to be fine. And this was not the first time the Israelites were grumbling. They were expert complainers, and that's kind of representative of most people. In today's episode, I gave the narrator a piece of advice, and that is to trust me in this scenario, but I would like to encourage all of you to trust God. Because, sometimes when we're following God, we go through these, and just even when we're not following God, we go through these terrible situations. And, like, the advice I gave to the narrator might have kind of hit you pretty hard today. And sometimes we need to remember that if we just trust God for a little longer, we'll find that really he had everything planned out, and that everything was really going to be okay this whole time. And no matter how bad things get, it's like these people, they were worried about dying of dehydration. Like, imagine the parents, like, their kids are saying, like, "Mom, Dad, we're thirsty," and they have no water to give their kids. So you can imagine, these people are under legitimate stress. It's not just they had a little petty they were having a little petty squabble with the Lord. They had a genuine need, but they didn't trust that God was aware of and going to take care of that need. But he had them taken care of all along. One more day and they would have reached 12 freaking springs. Lots of water. And they were going to be able to camp there. So that's what I want you to take away from this episode. Even if the process is painful, that does not mean that God does not have a plan in mind. Good can always be taken out of evil. And even in the darkest moments, that doesn't mean God doesn't have your back. Just keep the faith, even when it seems impossible. It's one of the best bits of advice that I could give you. And it's going to be hard, which is why we oftentimes, we read our Bible, we pray, we worship, we keep in mind everything God's already done. But keep in mind, like, if we've given our lives to Christ, that even if this event results in our deaths, in the end, that works out to something beautiful, because then we get to spend eternity with God in heaven. So I encourage you, I implore you, that even when things are tough, even when things look impossible, and you don't think you're going to make it through, trust God. If you have questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or snide remarks regarding today's sermon, feel free to email me at treasurecode813@gmail.com. Always remember, you are treasured, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!